Hey all, hope you're doing well. Today I'll be going over why I love blind second decks. Now this is in the TCG and Master Duel. The first part I love about going second decks is the ability to break your opponent's board. You can run so many going second staples like Lightning Storm, Super Poly, and even Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster to simply just destroy your opponent's board and leave them with nothing. This brings about a sort of different playstyle in which you are kind of working through a puzzle. What cards can you use to bait your opponent's negates, and then the other cards, can they get rid of everything? This leads to each game figuring out which cards you actually want to use and which cards you can just chuck away. To me, this feels like it is incredibly high skill. Whilst it is utilising some insanely powerful cards, the ability to pick and choose which of those cards will win you the duel is simply a different skill to setting up all your negates and passing. Whilst there is a lot of skill in picking and choosing what to negate on your opponent's turn, it is very different to simply trying to break the board. My second favourite thing about going second decks is, especially in Master Duel, going first is such an advantage that when you're playing a deck that relies on going first, that when you lose the coin flip, it feels painful. It feels like the game comes down to the die roll at the start of the match, or the flip of a coin like in Master Duel. This leaves some games feeling very unfun, just because you feel like you lost to the coin flip. You didn't lose to your opponent, you simply didn't go first. And whilst there are decks that can play first and second, which I do enjoy, the ability to have a deck solely on breaking the first turn player board is just super interesting to me. Not to mention they have one of my favourite archetypes, Cyber Dragon, which is where my love for blind second kind of originates. Now in the TCG, playing against a blind second deck is tricky. Only for the first game. Once you know it's a blind second deck, you really can prepare yourself and know exactly what to negate the next time round, which makes side deck options for going second decks very interesting. You can either play cards that they won't expect, or fully tech into going first for your next game, because your opponent may say, you can go first this time, and what they don't know is that you've slided in 15 going first cards and you've changed your whole strategy completely. In Master Duel, this means winning the coin flip against the going second deck can feel painful, especially because it's a best of one format where you don't have the chance to prepare against what you're going up against. It can feel like you lost the coin flip, even if you get to go first as a going first deck. Overall though, I think going second is such a fun playstyle. There's so many powerful cards at your disposal that you can use to break the boards of anything that gets thrown your way, whether it be a couple of generic negates like Appaloosa and Baron, or a whole variety of Tearlament monsters. Another thing I enjoy about going second is the ability to OTK in so many different ways, such as my favourite decks of all time are Cyber Dragon and Gren Maju, which love to go second because they can OTK so easily. But just using those decks as an example, there's so many different types of OTKs you can get after playing through negates that it's just so fun to figure out what else you can try to cheese out those wins after destroying everything your opponent has. Along the same lines, it also leads to games where you kind of slow everything down. You take out everything on their field, and usually after the first turn setup, they only have 1 or 2 cards left in hand. Unless it's Master Duel, in which case, if they have Maxi, you're buggered. But it leads to game states where if you can't OTK, it really becomes this grind game that you really don't see much in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment, it's very rare to see past turn 3, and having games last longer and going for the top deck wars, it's just a feeling you can't beat. What did they draw? What do I draw? You know? Can I top deck something that beats their top deck? It's so fun, and it's honestly one of my favourite ways to play this game, which is why I love Blind Second. I know this is quite a short video and quite a quick discussion, but if you want to see new Yu-Gi-Oh videos each week, please feel free to hit subscribe, and as always, happy dueling.